Hey everyone, this is Cooper Johnson from GridSpace, where I am the lead conversation designer or voice user experience designer for Grace, who is our AI-powered virtual voice agent who can do just about anything that you need her to do over the phone. And today I'm going to be talking about a use case that I've grown very fond of, which is post-hospital discharge. In this case, Grace provides a very valuable service of reaching out to healthcare patients after they've been released from hospital, clinic, emergency room, urgent care, whatever the case may be, whatever the care facility is, and checks in on them. Asks some necessary follow-up questions to provide the post-discharge care, sees if there's anything concerning that may require more care, and even acts as kind of, an intermediary, making sure that questions and answers move between the patient and their doctor or, their care provider, whoever that may be. And part of the reason I think this is so important is everyone involved in providing healthcare are very, very busy people. Tremendous amount of respect for all of them. Patient needs are kind of a 24/7 job even after they've been released from the healthcare facility. So there's not necessarily enough human power to provide all the care that we'd like to see. So that's where Grace comes in. And while healthcare providers and support staff, administrators, everyone's tending to the needs of patients who are actively receiving care, Grace can pick up that slack, be an important part of the team, call out to patients who are hopefully back home and make sure that everything's going well, or set off some alarm bells if everything's not going well and the healthcare team needs to be involved again. So before I give a quick demo of how this works, I will take a quick look at the playbook that defines the task that we want Grace to do. We can look at the first page here. Grace will identify herself. This is what we call an outbound use case, of course. Grace is calling out to patients. Chances of success on this kind of use case can be greatly increased if before discharge from the healthcare facility, the patient is told to expect a call from Grace, which in my opinion can be very comforting. So Grace will identify herself and, more importantly, I think in this case, specify which medical office at which facility, or to who she's reporting from, or to whom she reports, maybe an individual from the patient's healthcare team. So in this case, it's I've thought of a fictitious doctor. Hello, I'm Grace. I'm calling on behalf of Dr. Shackman from Harper Hospital. And it's also very important that we're making sure we're talking to the right patient. So Grace will ask, am I speaking to patient so-and-so? And this is a good time to note that GridSpace and Grace are HIPAA compliant. So in a lot of cases, we're aware that we want to do some additional authentication of the patient's identity, which is totally doable. We could ask for pointers that are unique identifiers on the patient, as many as we want. 2, I think, is the norm. But we could, do 1. We could do 4. So just for demo purposes today, we're just asking if Grace is in contact with the right patient. So if the patient says, yes, that's me, Grace will repeat her name, the healthcare professional that she represents, just to make sure that really sticks. Some rapport is built and the patient is comfortable speaking to Grace about what could be very sensitive topics related to their health. So Grace will specify, crucially, what she's hoping to achieve on this call, just asking some post-discharge care questions, making sure also that the patient has time to answer these questions, which would be an opportunity, for the patient to see, maybe time is not the issue. Maybe the patient is feeling really rotten in an unexpected way. That would be a good time for Grace to shortcut out and maybe escalate the call, transfer it to a human being who can help with some, urgent readmission to the healthcare facility, for example. But let's say the patient is no major concerns, has time to talk to Grace. We use this little logic note here, this diamond note, to check if on file for the patient we have that they were prescribed anything before being discharged from the healthcare facility. And I'll give a little demo, or yes, I have been prescribed something. And Grace will ask me some necessary follow-up questions about my prescriptions. But if it were the case for some reason that I was discharged with no prescriptions, we could bypass that entirely, thanks to this little logic note here. But if Grace asks me about my prescriptions, she'll verify that I was able to pick them all up, because that's very important, I think, for obvious reasons. And we'll also ask some questions about whether the patient has had time to book a follow-up appointment, if that's required or advisable under the scenario. And, ask some questions about maybe pairing the patient with a primary care provider if they do not already have a go-to primary care provider who they use regularly. And this is very modular, of course. You could remove questions depending on the needs of your healthcare practice, hospital, wherever you are, or add questions. Grace is infinitely patient. Grace could ask a lot of questions. We could add questions about, are you feeling any side effects from your prescriptions? Do you just generally want to report any information to your primary care provider? Just, speak it to Grace and that will be relayed along. Really anything that's an important part of your post-discharge care process, patient care process. That in brief is the task that we've assigned Grace. And I think it's time to do a little demo of this.
Hello, my name is Grace. I'm calling on behalf of Dr. Schaffman at Harper Hospital. I'm trying to reach Cooper Johnson. Am I speaking with Cooper?
Yeah, this is Cooper. I think the nurse said you'd be calling. How are you, Grace?
That's great. Once again, my name is Grace. I am a virtual assistant for Dr. Schaffman's office. Dr. Schaffman asked me to call about your recent visit. We have a few questions and want to see if you need further support. Do you have a moment to answer a few questions?
Oh, I think I do. I'm just laid up on the couch making my recovery.
Okay. Have you been able to pick up the prescriptions Dr. Schaffman prescribed?
Yeah, I actually got that from the on-site pharmacy. I had those before I had even left the building.
After an hospital visit, it is important to schedule a follow-up appointment with your primary care physician. Were you able to schedule an appointment with them?
I haven't yet. I figure I'll give her a ring on Monday and set something up.
Okay. I don't have any more questions. I will share the information you've given me with Dr. Schaffman, and Dr. Schaffman will follow up with you directly for potential follow-up. Have a great day.
Okay, so pretty straightforward. I'm doing in this situation, I was doing fairly well, but Grace asked me, the information just to ascertain that, make sure that I was on the road to a speedy recovery. So that, once again, is using Grace, the AI-powered virtual voice agent, to provide a very important role within the healthcare system, just following up with patients after they've been discharged from a healthcare facility. See you next time.